Good morning, everyone, and all the faculty members of KCC College of Engineering, Management and Technology. I think I'm right, okay? And all the members of this college. So the title of my talk is, of course, the innovation in AI and AI tools, challenges and opportunity. So my talk, wherever I go to deliver my talk I always try to make it a bi-directional nature. So it's not like that I'll speak and you will listen. I'll also ask you some questions and you have to answer me this question, right? Because maybe all of you or your college people have selected a very interesting topic, AI. And of course, even in IIT Delhi also, when students come to me to do their internship or their projects, everyone come with the idea, sir, I want to do the projects in AI. Do you know why AI? Of course, the answer will come. Most probably, they will get a very good job, and AI is interesting, and so, right? Many things are there. So we'll discuss one by one. First of all, let me ask one question to all of you. That I know that all of you are the BTech student, right? Why you are pursuing BTech? Let me simplify the question. Why we are doing science and engineering? What's the need of it? I need some random answer. Don't feel that I'm a professor from IIT and you will not ask and maybe your answer will be wrong. There is no wrong and right in this world, right? It's up to us. So whatever answer you will give me, and I know that all of the answers should be correct. So no need to worry about the answer. Just tell me why you are here. Yes, please. Okay, I got your point. Why you are here? Huh? To get a job? Very good. This is actually the 100% true answer, right? To get a job, to get a good package, right? Of course, if I'll ask this question to all of you, maybe I'll get, let's say, 1,000 answer from all of you, and let's say to get a job, to get good package job, or maybe to innovate, to discover everything will come. And if I'll simplify this process for two things, out of all this 1,000 answer, I can create only two wins out of all this answer. The first win is, we do science and engineering to make our life beautiful, to improve the quality of the life. Let's take the example that if you do the engineering, you will get a good job, you will get more money, then in that money you will bring luxury to your life or to make your life better, right? Let's say somebody will tell that I want to innovate some technology which can, based on my wish, will accomplish the job. That is also to make your life beautiful. Somebody will say that, okay, I'll innovate something which will diagnose my problem, my diseases at the earlier, so that the right measures can be taken, right? This is also to make your life better, right? So whatever the answer is coming to your brain, everything will come either in this bin, to improve the quality of the life, or to the other bin. What is the other bin? To understand the mystery of this universe, right? So mystery means, let me give you one simple mystery. You know that we started our journey from a single cell. One cell, then the cells started dividing, 2, 4, 8, 16 like this. And after some time, few cells decided that we will make the brain, few cells decided we will make the eye, few cells decided to make the finger, and this is how we started our journey as a human being, right? And finally, the beauty is that, finally you see, my fingers have grown up to this height and then stopped here. मान लीजिए, if the finger will continue growing, then what you will tell it? Maybe there is some problem, or you can tell that there is some disability, right? Okay, so if it will grow, then you will feel that this is a disability. So the question is, what kind of programming is there which controlling the growth of my finger, which will stop after a certain time, it will not grow. And if it will grow beyond this point, then maybe we'll name it as a disability or some problem, right? Just imagine yourself. Let's say you are sitting here, you can experience your surrounding. When, let's say I'm talking on your platform, this KCC big platform, right? And you all are sitting in front of me. First thing, let's say all these are human beings. girls, boys, right? And all of you have two eyes, one nose. But still, all of you look different to me. So what is the science behind it? How the things are looking different to me? So these are all interesting aspects of the science. So these are all, let's say if I'll ask you, which one is first, the egg or the chicken? So we don't have the right answer until now. So there are many mysteries in us, around us, and also in this universe. As a scientist, we try to tackle all this mystery. And for that, we need the good understanding of science and engineering. I hope you are convinced with my two things. So please keep in mind, actually even when the student at IIT Delhi, they come to my class, and when I take a very big class, I ask the same question, which I'm asking to all of you here. Because always you need to know that why we are pursuing this career, right? Maybe और भी एक answer हो सकता है कि okay, if I'll do BTech, maybe I'll get a good girl or good boy to marry, right? ये भी एक है, right? So these are actually, see, we humans are selfish in nature. Because of this interesting property, what we have, selfishness, we do everything, right? So even the AI which you are talking about, this is also because we are selfish, or we want to think for ourselves. That's why we need all this innovation in AI. I'll enter slowly. So, see, my intention of coming over here is to give you the fundamental knowledge, because if you are good in fundamental knowledge, you can build up the other things. But if I'll talk very hi-fi kind of things, then of course, when you'll go out of this room, then you'll say, oh, maybe the talk was very good, maybe very difficult to understand, and you cannot implement in your life. So that's why so please stop me. If you are not able to understand my talk, or if you are not able to understand whatever I'm speaking, please stop me there and ask me the questions, right? Okay, so coming to the second point, I'll come slowly to the AI. Do you know the meaning of computer? What do you mean by computer? Because I know that all of you are going to get the BTech in computer science, get the degree in BTech in computer science, right, madam? Yes. What do you mean by computer? Anyone can tell? Okay, very good. And do you know from where this word computer came? Yes. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? ये तो करता है computer. But from where this word came? Why the people came up with the word called the computer? Okay. Then maybe you have not come across this kind of history. So history is always very, very important. If we know the history, based on the history and what we need, on top of that we develop the technology, right? That's why history you need to know. So the computer word, actually this word was a job title, and the women's are called computer when this word came to this world. So many hundred years back, so when our society was based on the trading, people used to go in the boat to a very distant place, do the trading, then come back, right? That time, they need to do many manual calculation to understand the tide pattern, because if they will understand the tide, then only they can go safely and come back safely, right? And this, to calculate this tide pattern, they use, traditional mathematics. Every day they have to do the same thing again and again. Then that time, also the society was very male dominated. They thought that why we are doing this war, let's give this job to a woman, they will do this again and again. And the women's are called as a computer, right? And slowly, the people thought that why we are giving this job to a woman, can we bring some innovation in it? Can we come up with some mechanical device or electronics device, and which can do the same kind of job? And that's how the domain of computers started changing, right? And then today we can see very small computer, even the small computer can be within your body or in your pocket, anywhere you can keep it, and it can do many interesting kind of job. So the computer, so you understood that the computer, the job title, this a job title was given, the women are called computer because they used to do this traditional kind of work, repetitive kind of job. So here why I'm telling all this story, because these are all linked to the domain of AI. And truly speaking, I meet many people every day, and mostly many big universities around the world, not only in India but outside. And when I ask someone, what do you do? Everybody says that we do AI. But truly speaking, even in India, if 100 people are telling AI, 95 people, they don't know AI, right? Because this is one kind of, this is a very fancy word. AI is a fancy word. So if you will not take the name, people will feel that, oh, you don't know anything, right? Okay, so now what you understood, that to automate some traditional job, we need this kind of system which gives this idea of the computer, right? So then, since the time there are many evolutions started, and of course we came across many different kind of things. So I'm just showing you some kind of, you know all this word. Around 1950, the Turing test for machine intelligence. So the Turing test, it passed, and then the word, the intelligence word came to the picture. And around 1956, so there is a conference in Dartmouth College in US. It's a computer science conference, and then there, all the think tank in the world, they decided that already we have created a machine which can automate the process, which can do the job automatically. But can we bring some intelligence to the machine? Can machine understand something and do certain job? And that time they coined the word called the artificial intelligence, right? In 1956. But since that time, the intelligence word into the mathematical model or the machine came in different format. Just like here I've written many different things you can see here. Expert system, knowledge-based system, all these things emerge in different, with respect to different time points. And today we are in the world of AI. This is what we are telling. But in the same time, people ask you, how many of you have seen AI application or AI model or AI system? How many of you have seen AI? किसने नहीं देखा? अरे किस? I just when I entered also, that time also I came to know that KCCNs are very intelligent and they are very smart people. But in the same time, I found in the domain of the world of AI, you have not seen AI. Tell me the truth. How many of you have seen AI or experienced AI? ठीक है. कितने लोग अभी तक देखा ही नहीं? How many of you have not seen AI? Huh? See, this is a contradictory in nature. So, see, these are in engineering. First, let this concept to be clear. Either 1 or 0. इसी form में काम करता है, and you are in the computer science, right? So, either हाथ ऊपर नहीं तो नीचे. How many of you have not seen AI? कोई नहीं. So that means all of you have seen AI, right? But I have not seen any AI until now. My hands is up. I was thinking that how many of you will be in my side, but okay, no one. Okay, let's see. What do you mean by AI and why I'm telling that I have not seen any AI? And also in the same time, I'm telling you, next 20 years also, I want to be able to see any AI. But of course, the day will come, the real AI will come. These are all not the true AI. These are all restricted AI. Restricted AI means we have developed all this AI, whatever. If I'll give you the examples of, let's say, Sophia, you know Sophia? Recently, somewhere in Gurgaon, okay, there is an event, I think SCL, Srinagar University organized one event in Gurgaon, and they brought this Sophia also over there to showcase. Sophia, you know, they're the most intelligent humanoid robot, right? You know ChatGPT nowadays, ChatGPT or DeepSeek, these are the examples of the AI. You know Siri, right? Huh? You can tell many things, right? But these are the restricted AI. Restricted AI means these are created for certain purpose. They are not the true AI, right? What do you mean by true AI? Let me, ability like, let's say you are trained in something, ठीक है? तुमने कभी खाना नहीं बनाया, right? But you have seen, maybe you have observed, and I'll tell you, you have to cook this food. As a human being, what you'll do? You'll try to cook, and at least maybe you cannot do the best job, but probability is good that 50-50, or maybe you can do the job. But let's say the ChatGPT, which is trained by the large language model, can I deploy this ChatGPT for some other purpose? Of course not. Only it can do the language related kind of things, not other things. But as a human being, even if you are not exposed to a problem, okay, but if I'll give this problem, but your brain will try to solve it, but which the AI cannot do. So likewise, there are many problems are there, even we don't know that how to do it. That's why these are the gadgets we are calling this restricted AI, right? So then finally, okay, of course, I mean now we are in the domain of what we are calling this we are in the age of AI because of the deep neural network. So I'll come to these points why all of a sudden AI started accelerated. So because of this the power of the deep neural network. So now you understood that we are somewhere in between, not where we are supposed to be and what we are doing right now. But here again I'll pose two very interesting things over here. So when we are talking about the AI, so AI means artificial intelligence, right? Artificially we are making something intelligent. This is the meaning. So then where is the true AI? True intelligence. This is artificial intelligence, na? And we know that artificial things are not always good, right? कहते हैं ना कि artificial sugar है, ये not the real one, ये artificial है, यही कहते हैं ना हम. तो इसका मतलब ये artificial है. So where is the real intelligence? Huh? Human. Any other answer? Human brain तो है, of course. और क्या virus का नहीं है? The virus which forced you to be inside your home 2 years back, huh? That is organic, huh? देखो, life is the first thing when you are in the engineering domain. I always tell the problems are actually maybe that looks bigger, but the solution lies in the simplistic way. And I always prefer to solve any problem in a very simplistic approach. And if you will do, then the things would be very, very simple. Actually, engineering problems are not very complicated problems. These are very simple problems. So life is simple, take it in the easiest way, right? Let's say when you're talking about artificial intelligence, इसका मतलब if I'll ask you the opposite one, what would be the opposite one? Natural intelligence. तो natural intelligence, इसका मतलब intelligence कहाँ है? Nature में है. So true intelligence is always in the nature. और nature में क्या है? What you see around you, right? From bacteria, virus to anything, bird, elephant, and human being. And all of you, when I ask you from where you will get the true intelligence, many of you said the human or the brain. Do you know why you said? और ऐसे भी इसीलिए भी मेरे साथ फर्स्ट पिक्चर में भी मेरा यही था, एक चिप के ऊपर देयर इज ए ब्रेन, राइट? ऐसे पिक्चर था ना? हाँ. तो इसीलिए because in this world, among all the creature, we are the super creature, right? That's why we are ruling the whole world. Huh? And we are the ruling the whole world. That means who is helping us? Our brain, our nervous system. This is helping us. That's why we are more intelligent. So that means in this nature, everything is intelligent, but among all this intelligence, humans are the most intelligent. This is what we believe. And that's why we are talking that humans are the super intelligence and we want to mimic the human intelligence in the machine, right? Okay. So, so here I'm just showing you some picture. The birds are flying, right? You must have seen different kind of, they make different shape. And also the beauty is that, though they're not engineer, right? They're just a bird. Still, they fly in a pattern. They always maintain a distance. So that means there is some intelligence in them by which they maintain the distance. You must have seen, they fly like this, but still they make the pattern, the distance equal between the two birds, right? So based on this kind of intelligence, we engineers, we try to understand what is the mechanics behind it, and then what we do? We do this swarm intelligence, the drones, because nowadays you must have seen many thousands of drones are flying in the sky and they form the different patterns, right? So this intelligence comes from the bird, right? So likewise, there are n number of examples I can give you. We engineers, we don't leave a single creature in this nature to whom we are not able to mimic. We always try to mimic their intelligence. I'll tell you one story, maybe in the Google or maybe in the YouTube you can search for it. The scientists from the German, this is the, what they did, they work on the robotics and they want to understand the mechanism of the Sahara ant. Sahara ant, actually you know Sahara is the largest desert, right? And the ant, to get their food, they travel miles away and there is no tree, nothing. They will travel and then they will come back again. And the scientists, what they did, they try to observe that how the ants are traveling such a long distance and coming back in the optimal path. They don't take the longest route, they always take the optimal path. And based on that, they developed the robot and it's called the Sahabot, and they found this is working very well. So likewise, there are n number of examples where we try to mimic the intelligence of the nature or the natural entity and then create the right kind of model, right? So, so this is what one example gave you. Then second example is, as I told you, among all the natural intelligence, human brain, all of you also agreed with me that human brain is the most intelligent. And in the human brain, do you know कौन सा चीज है जो हमें इंटेलिजेंस बनाता है? Neuron. Yes, very good. This is the neuron, right? And you might be thinking that we are engineers. We don't understand biology. Nowadays, you know that the new education policy says that you have to have the biology also in the curriculum. And of course, I am telling all of you, even I have also no background in the biology, but you need to know each and everything. Then only you can do wonders, right? So this is a very simple thing. This is the cell, neural cell. You can see here, and this is cell body. You can see. So what happens? All the trigger. Let's say if somebody will pinch me, all this trigger will come through this dendrite, different points, right? And all this, I mean, if somebody will pinch me, then one trigger will come here, and maybe many trigger will come here, and all this trigger will be summed up over here, and then this trigger, I mean, here that will decide whether that will go to the next neuron or not, depending on different chemicals are present. We call it neurotransmitter or neuroinhibitor, right? And all this chemical and the electricity which is generated, they create all this orchestra in our lives. Either they will send the information or they will stop the information, and based on this, they create all this principle. I mean, whatever you're doing, right? So this is a very interesting mechanism. That's why you call this a electrochemical. The process is called the electrochemical. So just like I'm talking to you, in my body, there are lots of electricity flowing. If there is no electricity, we are no more, right? Our body is a completely the largest electrical circuit in the world, okay? So scientists understood how the impulse work over here, and then they came up with this mathematical model. So this is the first step in the domain of AI, right? This is what I'm showing you. This is a perceptron model. The scientists first studied this biological neural network, and then they came up with this engineering network. What they say? The input. Here I'm talking about the trigger, the impulse. There I'm talking about the x1, x2, xn. These are the inputs, right? Here, when the trigger is coming, maybe some trigger is having higher strength, some of them would be lower strength. And I don't know what is their weight. That's why here I'm taking W1, W2, Wn like this kind of weight, right? And what is happening here? x1, W1 plus x2, what will happen? It will be multiplied over here, and then it will be summed up over here, because the summation is happening over here. This is called the summation. And then there is an activation function, which the neurotransmitter plays a very important role. So we mimic in the form of a transfer function, and finally they are giving the output, right? So basically what we are trying to do, we are just trying to mimic how a single neuron works in a mathematical model. And then based on this principle, we came up with this final equation. You can see here x1, x2, x3, xn, w1, w2, w3, wn, and they are being summed up. And there is another terminology called the B. So this is a tricky point. B. This is called the bias. You all of you know, right? So bias means, let's say I know this is the ideal point, and I am able to reach here. Just like, okay, let me give you a very simple example. पहले जो रेडियो होता था, you must have heard the radio. रेडियो में जो होता है ना, नॉब को घुमाओ, फिर फ्रीक्वेंसी को मैच करो, then you will see, you will hear, right? फिर थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट करते करते आ गया, हाँ बहुत क्लियर आ गया, फिर वो चला जाता है, फिर you have to adjust, right? That knob will help you to adjust, right? But as I told you, in this world, I mean, ideal is the nature is the only the ideal things, right? And when we develop a system, we try to match to the ideal one, but we cannot match. Just like here, we don't know what is the weight, W1, W2, W3, we are assuming some weight. That means at the output, we are trying to match that my model should get the 100% output, but it's very difficult to get the 100%. That's why we keep a knob which will adjust the weight, or which will adjust to get the near, very close to the original output, which we expect, right? So that's why, because of this B, we cannot get, because it helps us to come closer to the real one, but we never can get to the real output, right? And finally we get this value, the output, right? So coming to this network, this is the, so okay, that was the perceptron model, and initially we came up with the artificial neural network, which are only 2 or 3 layers. And that time I, student like you, then people are thinking that if somebody knows this ANN, then they are the god of AI. But now this ANN is on one kind of that is in the museum. Though we use, I mean the basic principle we take, but we are in the domain of DNN, deep neural network, you must have heard. And because of this deep neural network, you can see the power of this, all this restricted AI, what you see in your everyday life, right? So this is what I'm showing you here. This is the deep neural network. So deep word kahan se aaya? So please try to understand. Maybe you will come across many courses, I mean people will teach you, but learn the fundamental things that ye kaise hota hai. Deep means, for two sense we call deep. First is, when some scientists, the neuroscientists try to understand how the brain works, they found that not only few neurons are working, it's a group of neurons are doing different tasks. Let's say I'm at the same time I am seeing Neha madam and yes sir ka naam Keshav sir, right? It does not mean that the same group of neurons are processing and then they are telling me this is Neha madam and this is Keshav sir. Maybe the different group of neurons. So the neurons are organized in a very columnar fashion and they process the information in step. Just like the first group of neurons, maybe they will take care of color, some of them will edges, some of them will some other things, and finally they will tell me that this is Neha madam and this is Keshav sir, right? But again, if you ask me how many layers then we will select, nobody knows. But only the scientist knows that there are many layers of neurons which are processing this information. Finally, we see the output. Then the scientists realize that, oh, that means the neural network should not be the one or two layer, it must be many more layers, right? And that's why we scientists, we engineers are very clever. We coined the term called the deep neural network. Deep means nobody knows कि कितना deep है. समझ में आ गया ना? कितना clever है scientists or engineers. If somebody, you test this one, if you go to some expert of AI, you ask him or her कि okay बताइए ये मैं I'm going to develop this model, how many layers I'll select? You will never get a tentative answer. They will tell you, oh, try this much of layer or try this much of, right? Say kind of hit and trial kind of things. I hope you understood why deep neural network. And second is why deep? This is in the another dimension. So earlier we are not able to, D means depth. You have to also collect the information in the depth. So for these two things, this is called the deep neural network. I hope you understood. Okay? And this deep neural network is very, very powerful. Here I've just given the example how all this information get processed. And again, also in the same time, just please, if you are not able to understand, I'm telling you in a very layman language, please stop me there. Because I'll take you to a very higher domain. Okay? So finally, I'm just showing you two networks. This is the engineering network, which we engineers, we use for different applications, which is called the DNN. The left one is the true biological neural network, how the neurons in our brain looks like. So if you see these two things, of course the left one is more complicated. And उसमें beauty क्या है? ये जो neurons होता है ना, let's say I'm talking to you, fraction of second में एक neuron connection दूसरे neuron से change करता रहता है. Within fraction of second it will change the connection, it will connect to other neurons. So this dynamism we don't understand. So as a scientist, we understand the function of a single neuron, but how the group of neurons work together to organize this orchestra in our life. Let's say, do you know orchestra? जो होता है ना, जो बहुत सारे play करते साथ में, and everybody has to have the right kind of notes. Otherwise, that would be a disaster for everyone, right? So this is how the neuron work, and we don't understand how it's working. That's why the day will come when we'll understand the function of the group of neurons, how they organize this orchestra. Then most probably that day will come up with the right kind of neural network. And again, in your KCC stage, so I always give in a very, pass very bold statement. Here I'm telling you, this just like the ANN is in the museum, the DNN would soon be in the museum, because DNN, deep neural network, which we feel is the powerful tool for the AI. Again, it would be one kind of obsolete, or maybe it would be the new version of this DNN will come. So which will be more dynamic and more adaptive in nature, right? Until now, everything is clear? Okay. Okay, these are the words. Maybe you have encountered, or maybe you have seen some book, or people must have discussed around you. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and data science, right? and people many times also they place in different way. So most probably actually I'm one of my book is coming very soon on this the data science and AI. It will be in the market very soon, and I have kept in mind all the BTech student, and also I mean it's a very good book. It's coming in Tata Microville. Maybe next month or in 2 months it will be in the market. So here people always feel that they are all different things, but actually they are not different things. I don't see much difference among all this. How they're related you see. Of course, everything in the coming under the domain of artificial intelligence. So first, when we started understanding the beauty of the nature, then we developed some model, statistical model, and by this statistical model, we try to enter the intelligence to our model, and these are all coming under the domain of machine learning. So you will see, so if you type machine learning, you will see n numbers of model in the machine learning domain. Then slowly, when we started moving towards the human, because just like you told, out of this nature, this human are the most intelligent, that how the neurons work, then when we started understanding the neuron in the human brain, then we came up with this deep DNN, deep neural network, and this is called the deep learning. So deep learning is mostly inspired from the network of the human brain, right? Because this is the subpart of machine learning. Again, also here also we try to, learn the machine from this human inferences. Then comes the data science. Data science is kya hai? So data science is basically, we try to get the pattern out of a huge amount of data. Let me give you an example. Let's say when I start as a baby, after my birth, how I started walking. Maybe जब शुरू किया चलना, मैं बहुत बार गिरा, and that means these are my data points. First day I fell down, second day fell down, maybe 10 दिन तक मैंने गिरा, और वो जो data है, it is already storing in my brain, and then after maybe 10 days, out of all this data, my brain try to find out the pattern. Okay, if I'll do like this, maybe I'll start walking, right? This is also data science. So based on this data, it took this kind of decision, right? So let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say, सुबह से your ears are open, right? सुबह जागने के बाद, you must have heard many sounds, many noises. But if I'll ask you, अभी तक आपने जितने सारे बात भी किया, जितने सारे वर्ड सुना, आप कुछ बताइए उसके बारे में, कितना आपको याद है? आप क्या बताएंगे? अरे आई ओनली नो, क्लास में गया था, मेरा फ्रेंड्स से बात कर रहे थे और टीचर्स टोल्ड लाइक दिस, फ्यू थिंग्स ओनली यू कैन टेल, राइट? बट just imagine, let's say if I'll replace your ear with a audio recording device, and the audio recorder will record all the conversation or whatever you're hearing since morning until night, and it would be huge amount of data, right? And out of this data, hardly you use only few kilobytes of data, right? So this is what, from this big data, your brain is somehow able to identify some pattern or find out some of the way that which are required for your everyday life or whatever you're doing. Others are just like a junk, right? ये होता है ना? तो यही है data science, और कुछ नहीं है. So the way it's happening. So likewise, you know that nowadays we have huge amount of social media data, we have huge amount of sensor data, IoT data, and there, out of all this data, how we can make good understanding of this data, or how we can find out some pattern for our daily uses or to make our life beautiful. Because the science engineering का मतलब तो यही है ना, to make our life beautiful. तो ये जो डाटा आ रहा है उससे क्या पैटर्न हम निकाल सकते हैं, and what would be its impact on our health or our everyday life, ठीक है? This is called the data science. And again, from this data science, from getting this signature, we build the AI model, and the same time, AI model what we build, that help us to find out the signature from the data. So they are all bidirectional nature. I hope you understood. हाँ? यहाँ तक किसको समझ में नहीं आया तो बताओ. I know, I'm telling you, you just go to any college, university, you ask randomly any people. Nobody can tell you the difference between all this 4 point. So I hope that all KCCN can answer this question if somebody will ask. बता पाओगे ना? Okay, very good. Look at this picture. This is a very interesting picture, and I'm introducing few terminology over here. You must have heard that now we are in the era of Industry 4.0, right? But actually we are already in Industry 5.0. So what do you mean by Industry 5.0? ये सुना होगा ना, Industry 4.0, 5.0, and also in the same time you must have heard, ये हमारे Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister ही बहुत बार ऐसे बताते हैं कि साइबर फिजिकल सिस्टम, Must have heard, right? ये सारे कंप्यूटर साइंस, इंजीनियरिंग, ये सारे उसी का ही है. क्या है ये मैं बताता हूँ इसी में. You can see here, this is how our society started. So if you look at this picture, we started with a hunter-gatherer society. That means for our livelihood, every day you have to go for hunting, right? This is how we started. Then the people realized that this is not the viable solution. Let's go for the agriculture society, which is the industry or society 2.0. Then from the agriculture, we shifted to industrial society, and the industrialization started, and this society is called the industry 1.0. You can see here, the bottom I've written industry 1.0. Slowly, we shifted to information society when we thought that we need to bring the information concept or information technology to the society, and which is called the industry 2.0, and then comes the industry 3.0, and then when we realized that we need the automation in the industry, and maybe we need to deploy the robot to do our work, and which is called the industry 4.0. I'm just telling you one thing, one story. Many people ask that do you think that the robot will take many people's job? So here also we need to understand that just like I asked the same question to all of you. Okay, let me ask you, do you know the difference between all this? I mean, why all of a sudden, you need to understand why all of a sudden we all jumped into this boat like AI and automation, right? So there are two very big differences between the human and the machine. In some cases, machines are very powerful. In some cases, in some kind of features, humans are very powerful. Do you know where machine is powerful? Huh? Okay, let me explain you. I know that you know the answer maybe here and there, but let me tell you. Human brain का सबसे बड़ा problem क्या पता है? We can easily get tired. Tired means, let's say if I'll give you a repetitive job, and after some time you'll feel, oh, what I'm doing, I'm getting bored or tired. Then after that you are about to commit the mistake, right? When you get tired, you will do the mistake. This is one of the biggest problem of the human brain. Let's say, I'm just giving one kind of example. Let's say I'll tell you, I'm going to hire you and I'll give you package of let's say 20 lakhs, right? And your job would be that you have to sit in front of your express highway, right? Every day morning you have to sit there and you have to count how many vehicles are passing. This is your job and you will get 20 lakhs. How many of you will join in this job? Okay. Maybe okay, but after 7 days you will come to me कि हमें ये job नहीं चाहिए, आप वापस ले लीजिए. Do you know why? Because maybe first day you will feel that oh, it's an easy job. Second day maybe you will feel that okay, I'm enjoying, nothing to do, I have to just count, right? After few days you will feel what I'm doing, because your brain, our brain does not like the repetition, right? Same job again and again. Okay, so this is the limitation of the human brain. First thing. That's why the automation, when you came up with this idea, automation, because human brain get easily tired or they don't like the repetition job. That's why we'll be able to do the mistake. Just like here, I'm giving one example. In the machine, in the industry, somebody will hire you because you are an engineer and your job is to look at a valve. Let's say in a very big industry, if there is an wear and tear in the valve, then the industry will shut down, right? The productivity would be come down. So the idea was, let's say if I'll hire you and I'll tell you, your job is every day you have to come here and to check that whether the valve is fine or not. Maybe initially you will do the job sincerely, and after some time you will feel that, oh, it's working fine, let me take a break, right? Because your brain will be tired. And then maybe let's say at the same time, if the valve will go wear and tear, then the industry will stop and the productivity will come down. So in your place, let's say if I'll employ or deploy a computer vision system, computer camera, and the camera, this is I have already put the intelligence over there. The camera is monitoring the wear and tear of the valve, and accordingly, when the camera will see that there is some difference between the previous time and now how it's functioning, it will alert to the central room, and then the engineer will come and replace the valve so that there would be no production, it will not come down or the industry will not stop, right? So that's why we need the automation to have the sustainable kind of, or the productivity should not hamper by this human error. Second is, whatever we do nowadays, we want, let's say the mobile phone, you all have the mobile phone, and we feel that, oh my God, this mobile phone is very faster, right? Everybody wants the real-time response. In everywhere, in any kind of system you see that we need the speed and accuracy, right? And when we talk about the speed and accuracy, do you know which is the basic principle behind the speed and accuracy? Huh? Do you know? Speed accuracy कहाँ से आता है? Okay, accuracy छोड़ो, speed, first speed. Speed आता है flow of the electricity. Electricity helps in the speed, right? And in the electricity, do you know how, I mean, which, based on which principle we get the electricity? Flow of the electrons, very good, right? And you know that we are the intelligent, right? And as I told you that also in our body also there are lots of electricity flowing. And in our body, which carries electricity, do you know? Ions, right? ये electrons जो होता है semiconductor, ये जो conductor, इसमें electrons play the important role. But in our body, the ions play the important role. And if I'll ask you, which moves faster, ion or electron? Ion is faster? ठीक है, जो जैसे तुम्हारे क्लास में जो 100 kg है and जो 60 kg है, if I'll make a race, who will win the race? 60 kg, right? So likewise, electrons like 60 kg, ions are heavier. Ions are very fatty. Electrons are very slim, right? That's why the electron speed is much more faster than the ions. And that's the reason the electricity in our body is comparatively lesser than the electricity in the devices. So because of these two reasons, first thing is we want everything should be very, very fast. Second, the human brain, we get tired, and when we get bored or maybe we don't like the repetition job, that's why we commit many mistakes, which the machine they don't do like this, right? Machine is, they don't get tired, they don't complain you कि I'm doing this repetitive job again and again, right? Because of these two things, today we are in the world of AI. That's why we need the AI. I hope you understood why we need AI. Clear? Okay. So that's why Industry 4.0, the think tank came up with the idea that okay, the robot should we need the automation in the industry and the machine should do this thing. But slowly people realized, or the think tank realized, that no, this is not the right idea. We need to go for the Industry 5.0. And Industry 5.0, this is about the cyber physical system, human in the loop of cyber physical system. That means we have the cyber world. You know that now all the computation is happening in the cyberspace, right? And all the devices are connected in the different way. You need not to be connected through the wire, you know, the IoT, right? And then you need to do the computation, and whatever is happening over there, the human would be in the loop. So that means this is the collaboration between the human and the machine. In that way, we can do the job efficiently. I hope you understood. And this is called the Industry 5.0. And that's why I'm talking here that we need to bring both human intelligence and machine intelligence together. Okay? Here, I'm just giving a very interesting example. This is, left side is a robot, right side is a child, 2 years old child. And if I'll ask you, who is more intelligent? This robot or this child? Who is more intelligent? The child is 2 years old, the robot is the most sophisticated robot in this world. But if you'll see, child is more intelligent, right? That's a different aspect. Okay, if I'll get time, then I'll explain how the intelligence evolved. But let me give you another example. Let's say here, I'm just showing you different, in this picture, can you see all same or different? ये सारे जो objects है, they are all look same or different? I see same. Different है? Okay. So how we see this different? Okay, let me show you this picture. The person is looking at the apple, right? And now, if I'll ask this person, what you see? Now this is apple. And if I'll replace this apple by orange, then the person will still say the apple or orange? Orange? Okay? But if you look at the physics, I think all of you have studied physics in your intermediate, right? Physics क्या कहता है? Physics कहता है, the object which is in front of us, the rays of light only enters to our eye, and it enters to the eye, then it goes through different layers of the eye. Just like here you can see, the rays of light from the apple is coming like this, and it is projecting to the back part of the eye, and here the light energy is converting to the neural energy, and it's passing through this pathway this is a neural pathway in the brain and going to a area called the, this is called the lateral geniculate nucleus, and from there it is going to the brain, and in this whole pathway they decide whether this is apple or this is orange, right? So here the big question, very fundamental question is how our eye or brain, they are converting this rays of light to different kind of concept. Just like you just imagine, all of you are sitting here. From all of you, I am getting the rays of light. And how my eye and brain are cooking up the story. Ki he sees somebody else, or he is somebody else. How this is happening? This is called the real intelligence, the true intelligence. And truly speaking, nobody knows that how this is happening. So as a scientist, we are trying to understand all this kind of mechanism, that how it's happening, then most probably we can create the right kind of mathematical model. So in the AI, what we are doing, we are trying to understand the true intelligence and mimic in the machine, which we are calling artificial intelligence. I hope it's clear to you, right? That's why I just showing you this picture, that all of this object looks different to us, but what's the mechanism? What's the mechanism behind this? We need to know this. So you know that based on this, actually we developed this computer vision algorithm which detects the human, the vehicles, many things. It applies in many kind of scenario like security, like identification, many different kind of condition. So the big thing is that before coming to this AI, which is the artificial one, we need to understand the natural one. That when we see something, when we hear something, when we touch something, how all this neural processes happen in the brain and how the brain understands all this concept. Let's say if I'll play, let's say Sare Jahan Se Acha, ek music I'll play. And you know, you all of you have heard this music or the tunes, right? And if I'll ask you, do you like this tune? Of course you will say, yes, we like the tune. Same time, I'll play some white noise, which you like this kind of, right? And you, maybe you will feel irritated. And both are the waveform, both are the sound. So the question is, why certain sounds or certain tune feels good to us, or we feel good about this tune, and certain tunes we don't like it? What's the mechanism behind it? If you can understand this mechanism, right, you can do many kind of things. Let's say I'm giving one example. Just like Neha madam was telling me, sir, you have to cover some tool, AI tool, right? Of course, I'll tell you some tools. But here I want to tell you the basic thing. There is no definite number of tools. Like here, I'm just talking about the AI tool here. Let's say I'll try to understand, I'll conduct some experiment on you, and I'll play some music, and I'll ask you, do you like this music? Do you like this music? Maybe I'll apply this, I'll allow 100 students to hear some music, and 95 of you will say, oh, this is a very great music, right? And then I'll try to understand why you say this is a great music and the other music which is not so great. And if I can understand this mechanism, I'll try to develop a model, AI model, which will be intelligent, or I'll give the knowledge like this, ki, okay, if I'll play this music, you tell me whether you like it or not. And if I'll create this kind of tool, let's say in a movie people, they create different kind of tunes, different kind of music. So my AI tool will tell ki whether this music people will like it or people they don't like it, right? Can I do this? Are you getting my point? So this is how we build different AI tool. So AI tool is just like, a screwdriver, hathuda, yahi kind of tool hai, ye sare tool hai, right? It's up to us in which application we are using which kind of tool. Clear? Okay. So here I just give you an example that how we try to understand the real world, because here another terminology, I'm just telling you the terminology, the meaning of it. You know that big data is a very big thing. Cognitive computing, have you heard the term cognitive computing? And I'm telling you, if you are good in cognitive computing, the people will come, big company will come and hire you with a very big package, crores of rupees package. So what is cognitive computing? Cognitive computing concept is very, very similar. It's not a very high-fi things. This is, let's say here, the information is coming in the form of, let's say, light, sound, whatever. This is called the raw data. Let's say, if I'll replace my eye with a sensor, let's say there is a sensor which will record everything what we see since morning until I go to the bed, right? And all this data I record. But out of this huge amount of data, let's say if I'll talk about my natural eye, it captures all this data, but hardly it uses 1/10 of this data, right? So here the principle is how the brain is taking the decision ki I don't need all this data, I only need this much of data, and finally it gives the output for our daily living, right? And this principle is called the cognitive computing. We try to understand the cognition in the brain, how it does, and then it will mimic in the machine. We can do the great job. Just like nowadays we get huge amount of data around us. But out of all this data, we don't need all of them for my use. I might need maybe 100 of this data for my use. How I can come up with this kind of model. This is called the cognitive computing, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Information coming in the form of different raw data, and then the perception is happening. Perception means, let's say, when I see somebody or when I hear something, this is perception. Then happens the cognition. Cognition means, let's say, when I see your face, I'll try to understand whether I have seen you somewhere or not, whether you look somebody familiar to me or not. All this process happens in the brain, and this is called the cognition. And all this important process is part of the true intelligence. And we need to understand this true intelligence to create the domain of artificial intelligence, right? So I'm just throwing you some word like IoT. Many of you must be thinking, this IoT, this is electronics people do it. Nowadays, please keep in mind, there is no difference between electronics engineer, electrical engineer, or computer science engineer, or IT engineers. All are same, right? Everywhere need the expertise of understanding the things, and the same time having the good expertise of the software, right? Because everything is it comes in the sandwich form, right? The IoT, during our time, we called the embedded system. Embedded system, in your mobile phone, there are n number of embedded systems. In your car, hundreds, thousands of embedded systems are there. So embedded system means, earlier, we used to develop a small gadget, and we feel that, okay, this gadget will do certain job, right? Let's say your washing machine. First time, the one kind of intelligence was implemented in the washing machine. Do you know it? In the form of fuzzy logic. The washing machine will automatically clean your clothes. That's the one kind of first set of application in the domain of intelligence. So AI is nothing but to bring the intelligence into your machine or your model, and ये intelligence कितना लेके आ रहे हो, that's up to you. How much intelligence I'll include in my model, right? So just like I told you the washing machine. So in the washing machine, there is a small embedded module over there which used to control that whether your cloth is clean or dirty, or how much time it needs to clean it, all these kind of things. But if I'll bring all the small gadget, let's say, air conditioner, also there is also embedded system, small embedded system. So that means for certain application, when you create some application in the form of a hardware and the mixing of hardware and software, we call the embedded. But let's say I am bringing many embedded system to the network, okay? And when I'm bringing all the embedded system to the network and everyone is talking among themselves, we call it say IoT. IoT is, the Internet of Things. Internet of Things means things are the objects, the embedded system we are bringing to the internet, we call the IoT. Let me give you an example. Today I'm here in the KCC, right? And I'll go to IIT, and it's very hot, and I'll go and work in my office, right? And in my office, my air conditioner is connected to my mobile device, okay? So I'll tell my mobile that now I'm going to start from KCC, and when I'll arrive at IIT, my room would be perfectly, controlled, the temperature should be perfectly controlled, right? So what will happen? There are many things here. One thing is, my location, my GPS would be tracked by the system, my air conditioner also connected to my system. So when I'll start from here, depending on the traffic, the decision will make that how much time I'll take to reach IIT, what is the temperature of my office, and when my AC will turn on so that when I'll enter, I'll get a comfortable kind of temperature, right? So this is called the IoT. I hope you understood, right? But if I'll talk about, let's say now, when I'll go there, I'll switch on the AC. This is only embedded system. This is only separate or independent embedded system. But when I'm bringing all this technology together to a same network and I'm controlling everything, or they're taking the judicious decision, this is called IoT. I hope you understood, right? See, engineering difficult नहीं है, छोटा addition है, right? Maybe I'll just introduce you. You know that, have you heard about the edge computing? सुना होगा ना? ये भी कुछ नहीं है. पहले क्या होता था? Let's say, based on this, let's say, what I do, let's say I get many lots of data, and from the data I create an inference engine, and my inference engine is that is in my server, which is placed in the KCC, and I'm taking some kind of, or I'm sensing some signal from somewhere else. The sensor is sitting, let's say, Kashmir, and what will happen? The sensor will get the data, it will send to the KCC, right? And in KCC, when it will pass through my inference engine, it will tell what kind of decision has to be taken in the Kashmir. And what are the problems here? The problem is, first thing, the data will come from Kashmir to KCC. Maybe it will take 1 minute, but there is some time, right? And when the data will travel this path, there is a chance of mixing with the noise, or maybe the chance of somebody can take away my data, right? Same time, the communication, the channel maybe data traffic would be very huge, so which would be expensive, which would be time consuming, which would be complex, right? So instead of doing all this thing, can I do one thing? Can I deploy this model in my edge device, even the Kashmir, whatever the sensor is getting the data, there all this computation will happen and there the decision would be made. Can I do this? And this is nothing but the edge computing, right? So likewise, there are many terminology we bring in different way and we call these are tools, right? So let's say here I'm just showing you some tools. Maybe you must have heard ChatGPT, Gemini, all these tools you have come across, right? These are large language model tools. So based on the large language model, so it trained this model and then it does some kind of job, right? You all know that how it works. So here I want to bring one very interesting thing. So now this is very important. This is called the agentic AI. So people are working on the agentic AI. So now, so you know that in AI there are different kind of models we use, right? So this agentic AI is the need of the hour because actually we need to bring more realness to our model. That means the way the human take the decision. Can we bring this kind of logic, this kind of decision making, this kind of even we are trying to bring the empathy to our system. If there is no empathy, it cannot behave like a human being. Can we bring? And then we are using all this agentic AI. So at least I know that if I'll teach this agentic AI, again it will take the whole day. So at least I am throwing this word to you. Please try looking at that what people are doing. And these are the very cutting edge area nowadays, right? So here I'm just giving one example. How we create this AI system. So the tools we are talking about. So when I was a student, right? This is I'm telling you very simplistic experiment, but it gives rise to very big AI technology. I'm just coming to that point because you all are from the computer science. I felt that this would be a very relevant example. So when I was a student like you, that time one question came to my mind. What are the question? So when I was looking, when we see the television, let's say television mein koi bol raha hai ya somebody is singing, right? What we feel, that time from where the voice comes. So let's say in the television, you're watching the television and somebody is singing some song. And what do you feel? From where the voice comes? Voice. From the mouth of the speaker. Who is singing the song? From there you get the music or the voice, right? So here I'm just showing you, this person is reading the news. It's a news reader. And what we feel, let's say I'm watching the television and if I'll hear, I'll feel the voice is coming from the mouth, right? We feel. But yes, you are intelligent because you told that the voice actually comes from the speaker. Yes, that's the crux, right? And do you know where the speaker placed? The speakers are always placed at the side of the television or at the bottom of the television, right? But though the sound comes from there, if you go very close, then you will feel that sound is coming from here. But if you are away from this screen, you will feel that the voice is coming from the mouth. So my question was, my research problem was, again I'm telling you, see, research is not a very hi-fi thing. Research comes from your basic understanding. जैसे मैंने ये खुद को पूछा कि why you feel that the sound is coming from the mouth, right? Then I started doing one experiment, very simple experiment. And truly speaking, when I did this experiment, I didn't know that it can give rise to a very big technology, big AI application. I'm coming to that point. So what I did, I just divided, let's say, to my whole television screen, I divided into 1000 by 1000 matrix. I can do this. ये तो pixel है ना sir? Each point pixel है. So I divided all the screen to 1000 by 1000 pixel. 1000 line इस तरफ, 1000 line इस तरफ. So each point is my pixel. And they are my motion sensor data. That means I consider each of this cross section as my sensor point. Clear? Same time I recorded the voice signal when the person is reading. So this is the voice signal. The green signal is the voice signal. What you see. And then what I did, I took the envelope of this voice signal. You can see this is the envelope I took from the voice signal, and the bottom signal what you see, let's say the yellow encircled region, let's say this is one of my pixel. And when somebody is reading news, let's say I am talking to you, if you will observe each of my pixel, it is moving with respect to time, right? So what I will get? I'll get a time series signal. So from this yellow region, I'm getting the time series signal like this, right? Likewise, if I have 3 points on the face, from the 3 points, I'm getting this 3 different kind of signal, right? So likewise, as I told you that I have divided the whole screen into 1000 by 1000 pixel. That means how many this motion signal I'll get? 1000, right? Then what I did, I have not done any big engineering. What I did, I apply the correlation. You know correlation we apply. The correlation A, B, cross correlation, you do this thing, right? This is what I did. I correlated this voice signal with this all the motion sensor signal. And just doing this, I created this picture. This is the picture you see. And in this picture, the hot color represents the higher correlation and the cool color are the very lower correlation. That means here, from this picture, what you can understand, I am getting higher correlation around the mouth region, right? And that's why we feel that the voice is coming from the mouth. And from this, I created a lookup table in the computer science. Maybe you will, I don't know whether you have studied lookup table or not, but most probably it will come in your course. So there is a called lookup table. We create a lookup table. How we create? Now from this diagram, from this analysis, what I can do, I can create a lookup table. Let's say for this mouth configuration 1, let's say I'll assign this is the sound, how the sound will look like. For mouth configuration 2, this is what the sound look like. And I'll create a n number of table in this table. This is called the lookup table. After my table is ready, if I'll throw any kind of mouth configuration and if I'll ask what would be the sound, or if I'll give any kind of sound and I'll ask what kind of the mouth configuration, I can easily do it, right? And actually I did this experiment around maybe nearly 20 years back. That time I didn't know that one day it would be used to develop technology, but recently one television, Odisha, OTV, and now many other channels, because they first launched the AI tool to speak or to read the news. She is not the real human being, she is the Lisa, and the AI women, and which will read the news. And this is nothing but the correlation between these two things what I mentioned to you. So the same things can be translated to the technology and the robot can read the news. I hope you understood. So this is AI. AI is nothing but to bring the intelligence into the some system. So here the normal human being used to read, but can I give this job to the AI? So this is what is called the AI model. I hope you understood, right? I'll give few more examples. So okay, this is what I was talking about, the cyber physical system. This is a very simple example I'm giving. Brain control system. Brain control system means you know that the brain technology is going to be the frontiers of among all technology. You know the smartest man in this world? Now the smartest man in this world. Huh? Have you heard Elon Musk? Right? He is the smartest man, right? And he has many companies, but out of all this company, few are very in the limelight, like SpaceX, like Tesla, like Neuralink, very good. And he said that the future is the brain-based technology, neurotechnology based, right? So what it means by this? Let's say today, let's say I'm talking something or I want to tell something to Neha madam. I need not to call her or I need to tell. I'll think automatically, whatever I'm thinking, it will go to her brain, right? This is where the world is moving. So here, again the brain technology, what I'm showing you here, this is called the cyber physical system. Cyber physical system means this the person is there with the head. I mean from there, from the sensor, the brain signal is coming. From there, the computation is happening in the cloud, and then it is connected to the hardware embedded system, which is controlling the actuator. And from this actuator, through the virtual world, the person is getting the feedback, and this is how it's controlling. This is called the human and machine collaboration, right? I'm giving one example. Nowadays, there are many projects are happening, big projects in the, let's say, defense. You know, every day, many soldiers, not even every day, in a month, many soldiers die because of the fight. in the border, right? So just imagine, instead of sending the human, if we can send some machine over there, robot, and the people are, or the men are in the control room, maybe far away from the border, and they can control the robot. Just like whatever they're seeing, the way they're tackling the soldiers or the enemy. So from the human brain, those who are the real soldiers, they are in the control room. From their brain signal, the way they want to operate, they can operate the agents over there or the robot over there, and they can do the war. And in that way, we can save many human life. And this would be the part of the, again, human in the loop of cyber physical system, right? I'm giving another example. Okay, this is how we get the brain signal, right? So I actually, again, one of my work. So initially, I thought that, okay, let's say when I'm talking about the face recognition. So face recognition is one of the very important area of research. So among all the objects, face is the most critical and sophisticated object. To understand faces is a very challenging kind of things. So my hypothesis was, my research hypothesis, this is what I'm also telling you research, how to do research, right? I thought that, let's say I recognize him or her, right? How I recognize? I felt maybe the frequency component present around the eye plays a very important role. This is my hypothesis. Okay, maybe because all of us have different shading around the eye, right? And the shading around the eye plays a very important role to recognize somebody's face. This is the idea I conceived. And then what I did some experiment, very interesting experiment on this brain, right? On the true intelligence. I did this experiment with the true intelligence because my main idea is to create an AI system. Clear? What I did, I attached many sensors on the top of my brain, and I presented all these faces. So these faces, what you see, the left side faces, you can see my cursor. This face is the negative of somebody. Let's say if you take my face, if you take my picture and if you develop the negative, this is the negative. The first picture is the negative. Earlier days when if this analog camera, that time we used to have this kind of negative. This is negative face, right? Then, sorry, this is the positive face, and the second one is negative face. This is the positive face. This is the negative of this picture. Third is, I kept only the region around the eye. And fourth is, what I did in the negative image, the second image, the negative image, I preserved the frequency component around the eye. Whatever the frequency component present on the eye, I just preserved in this last picture, right? These are the 4 different ways I created the face. And what I did, I ask you, please come and I'll do some experiment. And you are sitting on the computer, in front of the computer, and I presented all these faces and I record the brain signal. Because brain signal, why brain signal? You must be thinking that you can ask me that whether I can recognize it or not, but why brain signal? Let's say I'm showing you one Apple iPhone and one random ABCD company phone. And if I'll ask you which one you like, then maybe, to cheat me, you'll say, I like this ABCD company phone. But अंदर से आ रहा है, I know that I like iPhone, but I'm pretending that I like this one, right? But always जब हम झूठ भी बोलते हैं, अंदर से क्या आता है कि इसको तो मैं झूठ बोल रहा हूँ, right? Your inner things always tell the truth. So likewise, the brain say, you need not to tell whether which one you can see or recognize. The brain signal will tell what is the truth, right? That's why I have recorded the brain signal. And from this brain signal, I put 129 sensors all over the brain. Then I analyzed all the signal, and finally I found out the pattern. These are the patterns of recognition. And I found that we as a human being, we recognize both the image equally, the last image and fourth image. So that means my hypothesis was correct. My hypothesis was that the frequency component around the eye plays a very important role to recognize somebody's face. Then what I did, I program a robot, right? I program a robot. I'm playing in this picture. This robot is programmed based on this frequency component around the eye. And here I found that yes, the robot is also doing great job to recognize the face, right? So this is, I just presented to you both the natural intelligence and I shifted to the domain of AI, right? So I hope you understood the concept of AI. What do you mean by AI? AI is not a magic. These are the things of AI. About this technology, then only you can understand. So this is about, have you seen anybody, मिर्गी जिसको बोलते हैं, मिर्गी जो ये में, fits, English में fits कहते हैं. So this is a neurodevelopmental problem, right? And ये जैसे earthquake होता है ना, जैसे earthquake will not tell you when it will come, So likewise, brain ka one kind of layman language mein, this is the earthquake in the brain. So sometimes the brain, the neurons will start firing randomly and the person will be unconscious and fell down, right? And ye very dangerous. Let's say if you're driving, then maybe you lose your life, right? So this is a very big problem. And to diagnose this problem is also a very big challenge. And because, why this is a big challenge? Because when it appears in the brain, maybe you are not in the hospital or not in the clinic, then how the doctor will get the signal or how they will understand what is happening in the brain, okay? So the question is, you can see the wave you see, these are all the brain wave and it looks like a noise, right? And to understand this problem, what the doctor do, they record the brain waves for a long time, 24 hours. And then what they do, they look at by naked eye and find it out from where this seizure is coming, and which is a very difficult kind of job. As I told you, that human brains are easily get tired. Let's say if I'll look at the signal of a person for 24 hours, after 1 hour, 2 hours, I'll get tired and I'll commit the mistake. I cannot do the right kind of diagnosis, right? And also there are many challenges are here. So we thought that is it possible, because actually if one trained doctor needs to diagnose this patient, it takes a lot of time. So you imagine that in the country like India, there are many patients, the doctors are very less, the trained doctor, then how the diagnosis will happen? So the question is, can AI help here? So what we did, after getting all this brain signal, we trained our model, AI model. So this is the AI model, and the AI model is helping us from the signal in the real time, it will mark in the color code format, which is the baseline, which is the seizure, which is not the seizure, which is the in between two seizure, all these are coming in the color code format. So the doctor need not to look at all the signal, the doctor will go to the particular location and tell or confirm that what is happening, right? And this is a very big kind of support for the clinician to diagnose this thing. So in order to diagnose, just if they will use this AI system to diagnose a patient, they might take just few seconds or maybe few minutes, right? Not even, just like the traditional way they do. So this is and here this AI tool not only will tell this thing, but also tell you the location in the brain, from which regions of the brain the epilepsy is coming, right? This is the video I'm showing you. Just see.
Part of the technology is the brain-based color coding algorithm and being reflected onto your screen that codes each segment of each into different categories. It is assisted with interactive visualizer, which has the option for generating discount graphs, localization plots, and source imaging.
Okay, so you got some idea that what do we mean with this AI and how we deploy the AI in different kind of applications, right? So this is not the only one thing, there are many things. The n number of tools are there, AI tools. But actually I'll just discuss few of the tools maybe as an academician or as a student which you might need. So okay, so here I wanted to tell you very interesting thing. I'm just looking at that, how much time we have, madam? We have time? Okay, so maybe I'll come back to this tool because I need to conclude in a very interesting note. That's why I'll come to the very interesting things. Let me just highlight a few of the tools. Just like here you are, until now, whatever we have covered, you understood the meaning of AI. You understood also that AI is nothing in front of the natural intelligence. In the same time, you understood why we all are running behind AI. Because we are running behind AI, because AI, they don't get easily tired, they don't get tired. Second thing is they are very, very fast. Okay, and the process of automation, we are talking about automation, they are very big help, but at the same time we need to make sure that how much intelligence we are putting, right? So that means whatever AI things you see around you, there are n number. Depending on your uses, you need to choose that what I'll use for which purpose, right? So, okay, these are things I'll talk later. These are very interesting things. Let me go to the back to make sure that we are touching upon few important points. Okay, network is corrected, yeah. So, okay. So here until now I just giving you very real world application. I was giving a very big picture, right? And as a student, I like to tell you, just look at the sun. Try to think big. Then only you can land in moon. But if you are looking at moon, then you will be on earth itself, right? इसका मतलब ये है कि just think the big picture of the AI, that how you can make the real AI. So that would be wonderful. But if you will use some tool for something, that's not interesting, right? So but here, I'm just going to tell you some of the tools. And for this tool, because the tool is basically, as I told you, this is one kind of eat noodles, right? And I'll give you spoon, fork and chopstick. And I'll ask you, choose which one you will use to eat noodles. What will you do? Maybe depending on your need, maybe spoon would be better or chopstick would be better rather than, spoon is not the best idea. But still you can also eat using spoon, right? So tools are like that. Please keep in your mind, tools are not magic. Tools are based on your need. Which kind of tool you will use for which purpose. And for many applications, we create the API. I hope that you understand the meaning of the API, right? What do you mean by API? I know all of you are now tech guy, huh? API, have you heard that word API? नहीं, सुने हो ना? क्या है? हाँ? Application Programming Interface. That means application programming. For some application, we are programming and having an interface. Always try to understand the meaning of this word, API, application. For certain application, we are doing programming, we need to program, and then interface, we need to interface. Because now in this world, we need to bring the cyber world to the physical world. We need to have an interface, right? And this is what the example. And all this tool, whatever I'm going to talk, these are all API kind of, right? And you have to either use it, which are freely available, or you can develop your own kind of things. So here, this is simple. This is I found a very good picture from the internet. So let's say you went to a restaurant and you are supposed to give some food order, right? What you will do? You'll go through the menu and the waiter will stand over there. What the waiter will do? The waiter will ask you, what is your need? What kind of food you want? Then taking the order from you, it will go to the kitchen, and the kitchen, it will give the order, and then finally, whatever the food you want, then the kitchen will give you, and then as a waiter, you will have to give to the customer, right? So here, the waiter, the job of the waiter is a API, right? So the waiter are the API, that means application programming interface. So in the top picture, this is the same thing. Mobile application, you are sending some request, then the API will see that what is the request, then it will send to the server, backend system, and from it will get the answer, then it will give the. You have to play a very big role over there, right? So the intelligence thing you can put over there. Clear? So in the AI, there are many tools are there, but first of all, I am coming to the tool for the development, not for the usage, right? Development, what do we know development? Development means the kind of examples I presented to all of you, these are the development of a very big thing, right? I just talked about this epilepsy detection, I talked about the face recognition, talked about, let's say, cyber physical system. These are all big kind of things. So for that, how you can do this? Of course, you know that the programming, we use some programming languages, right? And I don't know what are the languages you are learning over here. So all the languages are very similar, right? But I would like to suggest you, if you have not started yet, please start learning Python. Python is a very powerful language. And why this is powerful? This is freely available, you need not pay. The users are huge, so if you have some trouble, you just post in the trouble, you will get the answer. So many people are there around the world to help you out, to troubleshoot your problem. And this is powerful, and this is freely available and it's powerful. That's why all the AI tools are developed mostly based on this Python, right? So these are the core AI framework. You know that you must have heard like TensorFlow, PyTorch, right? Keras, you must have heard. ये कोई magic नहीं है. These are all, they do the similar kind of things, but थोड़ा different है. So what you have to do, just like here I just written, TensorFlow is developed by the Google, right? PyTorch is developed by whom? Do you know? Who developed PyTorch? Keras, who developed Keras? Have you heard actually the terminology which I am using? Have you heard this terminology? So of course, as I told you that all this thing, let's say if I want to show you that how you can implement or how you can program, then again these are very long sessions, right? So please, once you are going back from my talk, please at least search in the internet what is TensorFlow, what kind of work we can do by using TensorFlow, what is PyTorch, okay? So how we are using the PyTorch. So just like here I mentioned the TensorFlow, PyTorch. So if I'll ask you that what is PyTorch, I've written here, PyTorch is a machine learning library that Facebook AI Research Lab developed. And all of this PyTorch, this Keras, everything, all these tools are developed at the similar amount, same time, 2015, 2016. And these are nothing but the library which we use to develop the application, the API for certain purpose, right? You can see here, this PyTorch can also program in C, C++, since the library shares some C++ backend with Torch, the deep learning framework. And if the user is accustomed to using Python as a programming language, then PyTorch is good choice, since it's well connected with the Python. So PyTorch is good for the Python users, right? But at the same time, TensorFlow is good for the high level model development. Let's say if you are going for the high level model development, you can also use TensorFlow. But again, the same time, I can tell you here, both are very similar. Both have little bit of pros and cons. And as I told you, the tools should be selected based on your need. What is my need and what is my objective, what I want to achieve. Based on that, you have to select your tool and what are the languages you are comfortable with. Then please select that tool, right? So likewise, Keras is also a very high level user-friendly API. Just like in the programming, you know that we have low-level language, mid-level language, and high-level language, right? In the programming you use, for the high-level language, you know that let's say Java is a very high-level language. So it's very easy to write the code, right? But again, difficulty is that it is not machine efficient, you can tell like this. So if you go to the middle level language, it is both machine efficient as well as the human efficient. So this is how we define low level, high level and middle level language. And again, as I told you, that depending on our usage, we need to select which one we need to use for which purpose. This is very important. And if you look at all this, the core AI framework, if you look at this level of API, the speed, architecture, debugging, data compatibility, everything you see, all of them have different kind of pros and cons, right? But these are very, you need to, if you are working or if you are interested in the Python or any kind of, let's say somebody is interested in metaverse, you must have heard about the word called the metaverse, right? Nowadays, this VR, metaverse is going in a very big way. Do you know why? Because we want to create, just like in the domain of computer science or the AI, until now, we are able to send the voice, we are able to send the video, but until now we are not able to sense the touch. Let's say one of my friend in US, I want to touch my friend, I cannot feel that. Let's say your mom is cooking some food at home and the mom is telling, oh, this is the flavor is very good, but from here you cannot get the flavor. So let's say you are talking to your mom over the mobile phone, but at the same time you can get the flavor of your food. How you can do this? So these are all very interesting domains are happening nowadays. We want to create, that's why in computer science you must have heard one term called the multimedia. Multimedia means all media information you are processing and doing something. But the word, please remember, I am talking about multimedia, multi-sensory media, how we can infuse all the sensory information together to create the real world experience, right? So these are the hottest area. So okay, so these are the actually, okay, I just highlighted this thing, and of course if you in Google you will find many helping kind of document. You can install it on your computer, you can start doing the work, right? And again, you have also some tool for the data manipulation analysis. Let's say when we analyze some data, we use some tool, right? Just like NumPy, Pandas. So these are the terminology you will come across when you are learning AI or machine learning. So these term will come up on your way. So you need to understand what I can do using the NumPy, what I can do using the Pandas, right? So like in the machine learning, we use this XGBoost and all this learning algorithm to make our system much more efficient, right? So again, these are the tools. I'm just talking about the specialized tool like Jupyter Notebook, MLflow, Docker. So Docker, let's say if you created one API and if you want to install for certain application, then you have to go for the Docker. Docker will help you to go for the real world implementation, right? So likewise, these are the basic tools in the machine learning, but in the same time, you will see many other tools, right? Maybe people Google 15 tools for the AI student, 20 tools, but actually truly these are all very random numbers. So it's up to you how many tools you can create or how many tools you can use in your daily need or maybe for your educational need, right? Just like here, I've listed few. Let's say, okay, the Bhasini, the Bharat GPT, these are the Indian version, and also there are many things, also in India there are many large language models there. But at the same time, you can see these are all different kind of AI tool, and all of this AI tool can help you in certain purpose. All of this tool is not helpful in all the purpose. Let's say I'm just talking about, let's say I want to write a document, right? So generally, you are talking something. If you have any questions, please ask me. Okay, so when you are talking about the tool, let's say I'll talk about, let's say that I want to write some documentation, or let's say when you do research, you write in using some Overleaf. Overleaf is a platform. So again, many of you maybe argue with me that how come you can tell that Overleaf is a AI tool, but I can tell yes, it's a AI tool, but again this depends on how much intelligence you have embedded in this over here. So like if I'll write in a doc file, right? In the doc file, I have to do everything manually. But if I'll write in this Overleaf, I need not to do manually. Everything, whatever I'll type, automatically to the reference, it will organize the things. Maybe I'll show you after certain time when I'll go to the Google, I'll show you. So like here you can see all this Jupyter I talking about, generative AI, Canva, all this speech synthesizer, these are all GitHub. So for the engineering student, GitHub is again one kind of AI tool I can say. So in the GitHub, you please today, because first thing out of all this thing, you need GitHub. So maybe you are first or second year, please create your account. And the GitHub, what you can do, let's say you did one project, you can share your code, everything. Somebody else can evaluate your code, I can tell you, or you can collaborate with someone else. So this is a very one kind of automatic process. In that way, not only you learn by yourself, but you will co-learn with many people, right? So you must have heard people used to share their code in the GitHub. They used to tell the community, hey, look at my code in my GitHub or my document, everything over there, and give your feedback, right? So these are all small tools, but again, it's up to your use. So out of all the tools, what I'm showing you here, GitHub is the must to do. So today your job is to learn GitHub, how to use GitHub, right? There is many functionality over there. You just type in the Google, everything will come. No need to, you need not to go anywhere to learn this thing. Everything you can learn by yourself, right? So now the world is very different. Okay, so again, these are all these LLM models I'm just showing you here. Okay, but here I'll just highlight some of the things. Okay, just one thing, let me see. Again, I've just listed all this. See, ChatGPT, Grammarly, Quillbot, Google Gemini. So everything are the examples of the AI. These are all AI agents. Right? So don't say these are the full-fledged AI. These are the AI agents, and all of them do certain tasks like Grammarly. Grammarly will check. Let's say you are writing something and you want to check you are not good in English grammar, that will help you, that will suggest you कि maybe you can change your grammar over here like this, but always it will take your suggestions, right? So likewise, these are the tools you can see here, and everything, maybe all this tool if you Google, I'm not doing any magic, I just Google and I just find out all this tool. Out of all this tool, even though in the top of this AI, but I use only few of them. Tool like ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT, let's say I'm making some presentation, I have to deliver a talk on certain topic, right? But I ask the ChatGPT, please tell me what would the interesting point on this topic, and I don't copy all the things what ChatGPT will tell me. Ki you just do this. As an expert, I'll go through everything, then I'll select which are required for me, because all this large language model that will take you to, in many cases, the hallucination. Do you know the meaning of the hallucination? Which never exists. It will take the way it already exists. So that means you need the domain knowledge, and if you are having the domain knowledge, you can use all these tools in a very judicious way. So here I would like to tell you, use all these tools just like your slave, not like your master. I hope you understood. So don't allow this AI tool to take over your life and to tell whatever they will tell, you will believe it. Even many times students write their report, right? Even in IIT maybe students likhte hain, but we can easily catch them because we know where they will do the mistake. From there you can understand they have not done by themselves, right? So because of this hallucination which come to this picture, that's why here what I'm just mentioning over here, always you do this thing, to understand the new kind of technology, new kind of tools, experiment and explore. Don't limit yourself to these tools. The AI landscape is constantly evolving. So stay curious and explore new options. Maybe today, whatever the tool I'll explain, once I'll go here, from here, at the same time, you'll get thousands of tools, right? So that's why now your job is, because now the time is very different. Time is different means earlier, during our time, even before us, when somebody used to learn computer science or engineering, they feel that easy knowledge say we can complete the whole life. But nowadays, whatever you're learning today in the college, when you go to the job market, maybe the domain would be obsolete from the market. So that means you need to update your knowledge each and every instant in a very big way, right? Otherwise, nobody will care for you in the market. And please remember, जैसे बहुत सारे बीटेक स्टूडेंट मुझे पूछते हैं कि there is no job, AI is taking all the jobs. It's completely false. Only you have to evolve with respect to the new kind of expertise you need to be a able person in the market, right? And the jobs, actually there are a huge amount of jobs, but we are not getting the good people. So why somebody will give you 1 crore package if you don't know anything? But if you can prove yourself that yes, I know this thing, I can do it, of course they will take you, right? So that's why experiment, explore. Second is practice regularly. Consistent practice is required to perfect AI. Work on your own projects and enter online competition. Leverage online resources, and then finally join communities. So now the time is not to work alone, but to work with everyone, right? So that's why joining community is a very good idea, because the things are evolving every day. What you don't know, maybe you can get the idea from somebody else. Let's say you are not expert in everything. Maybe you can make a group of your student, your friend. Maybe somebody is good in electronics, somebody is good in programming, somebody is good in API interfacing. Then you can do many very good job, right? So these are the main points. And finally, I can say, by properly employing these tools and constantly growing your skill set, you will be well prepared to face the challenge and possibilities given by the AI revolution, right? One thing, whether I'll take you to the different tool or ChatGPT, in just using ChatGPT or Gemini, right? You can do many things. Okay, let me just tell you so that it will be faster. If will go now and type in your computer, it will do the same thing. I mean, what I do. You know that to do many things in this ChatGPT or Gemini or the DeepSeek, right? And grow, have you heard the grow? Elon Musk. And until now actually grow is much more intelligent, because have you tried grow? This is much more intelligent. because this is how the people are trying to embed the new intelligence in the machine, right? You know, in the ChatGPT, I want to create a logo for KCC, and I want the KCC stands for education, technology, humanity, and all this kind of word what I know. I'll enter to this ChatGPT or Gemini, and it will create the logo for you, right? And you can manipulate. Okay, I need this in the logo. It will do it. So these are all freely available. See, two things: freely available. You have some limited capability, but which are available by some paying some money. So these are all very powerful, right? So this is up to you, but I think for your job, the free things is fine. Even I tried both the paying mode, but most of my jobs I can do just free things. But only, as I told you, that you have to use this tool judiciously, right? Then I just want to, let me go back to my slide. Actually, my plan was to also go through the how we do many of this tool, but I believe that all this tool you can also do by yourself. Okay, so there are many important experiments over here there, but let me just highlight few of the things. One of the AI application I'm just sharing with you here. What I'm seeing you, you know, in the computer science also we developed the AI model which can recognize the character. So already there is a document reader. The AI system, if you give any document, it will read, convert the document. You know it, right? But many times it fails. It cannot do the job. Observer, if I'll give you something in the handwriting way, in my any kind of handwriting, you can still read. You can correlate with the context and you can read it. So this is one of the research work done by one of my PhD students, and now he is scientist at MIT. So what we did, we try to understand how the machine or the AI reads all this character and how human do this. And this is what I'm using an eye tracker. So let's say when you are reading, where you're looking at, the eye tracker will track your eye movement, right? So like this, you can see here, when the person is looking at some character, this is a Devanagari character, maybe it would be recognized or it will not be recognized. Let's say I'm showing you this two picture. In this picture you can see, the bottom picture 2 you can see, when the person is looking at the top person, the top corner, the person is able to recognize the character. When they're looking at the middle, they're not able to recognize. So when they're telling no, I cannot recognize, that time they're spending more time in the center of this character, right? So we developed a database of many ornamental characters which are difficult to recognize. What is this character? And then we try to understand as a human being how we recognize and how we cannot recognize. In the same time, we also try to understand how machine is recognizing. Okay? So like see here, this is the, right? Letter the, and some people say this is letter R. But here, the is the incorrect response, R is the correct response. R is the correct letter. So when you see, when the people are looking at, R means when they're telling, sorry, the, that means they're looking at the bottom part. But when they're looking at the top part, they're telling it's R. That means we are using some of the intelligence which is not in the machine. So what we did, we took this AI model, whatever the AI model we developed for the character recognition, and then we modified some of the layers, right? So what we did, I'm just not taking much time. This will take lots of time to explain. So what I did, I modified my machine learning model, the AI model, and I introduced the features what I'm getting from the eye fixation. And with these features, I tuned my machine learning model, and then what I found, my machine learning model is doing a great job. It can identify the letter better than the simple AI model. So here what I wanted to tell you, just like I highlighted, you need to bring the intelligence of the human to your machine and create the human-machine collaboration tool that will do the job in a better way, right? So likewise, actually there are many examples I wanted to give you, but coming back to the kind of research I do at IIT, I do many kind of research at the interface of natural intelligence and artificial intelligence. What I do, I try to understand the intelligence of the human and then mimic in the machine. So one of my project is to restore sight to the blind. So I challenged to laureate many years back. They gave one concept about the brain and how we learn. And based on that, my question was whether the blind can see or not. And if the blind cannot see, why they cannot see? And if they can see, how they can see? And I took this problem to understand more about the beautiful aspect of the computer science, that how I can build a model which can recognize the things the way we recognize, right? And I started doing this experiment on this blind, and that then I proved that the blind, which was earlier not possible, that blind cannot see, I proved that yes, the blind can see. And then I'm taking the inferences from those studies to develop the advanced AI system, right? So not only this, we do many different kind of interesting projects. So when you will do good work, when you will do right kind of work in the domain of AI or this kind of intelligence, the sky the limit, the whole world will follow you, right? So some of my research is already highlighted, the science. Science is the top-notch journal in the world. So ये जो magazine में दिखा रहा हूँ ना, to all the students I'm telling you, because you are building your career, it does not mean that आप कहाँ से BTech कर रहे हैं, कहाँ से degree ले रहे हैं, but it's more important that what kind of work you're doing, how big your work is. And if your work is very top-notch, then it will go to this kind of journal. So if you have one research in this science journal, you will be recognized by the whole world. This is the importance of this kind of journal. So our work, my work is already published in this journal, and also this cover page of this magazine was given to my work. This is the cover page of my work. And the Nature is also Science Nature, which is the top-notch journal, like IEEE, सुना होगा, IEEE Transaction or IEEE. So in this category, Nature Science is the top. And also it's being highlighted in the Times magazine, Harvard, MIT News, and all this news are based on this artificial intelligence and natural intelligence, whatever we found from our research. And the Hindu, the Hindu paper from India, and the Wall Street Journal, and this is one of the pictures I'm showing you. The Germany, from one magazine from Germany, they visited my lab. This is my lab at IIT Delhi. My students are trying to understand how the intelligence develops, or how we do all this beautiful work in everyday's life, and we are mimicking in the machine. So even the Netflix also visited my lab at IIT Delhi to cover some of the stories, that how we address this big problem, and we try to mimic in the machine, which is called the true, very close to the true intelligence. And as I told you, that we need to bring both the intelligence from the nature as well as from the machine, and in that way we can create the right kind of AI tools or AI technology which will serve the purpose, right? And I always tell everywhere that illuminating lives, illuminating science and technology, that means doing some human trained work where you can impact the lives of the people. In that way, you can also inspire the next generation adaptive AI system, right? Because this is actually, I get lots of influence, just like I restore sight to the blind, those who are born blind. Now they are able to see by my work. In the same time, I try to understand how they're learning this visual world or how they learn this sensory world. I just try to mimic in the machine, and in that way I create the right kind of AI tool.